Okay, this is Harold's Prog Rock Show part 35. It's entirely dedicated to Italian prog rock albums. All albums are from Italy, and it's in fact the Italian prog rock album top 45. Okay, let's start with number one. Number one is Premiata Forneria Marconi, PFM, with their first album Storia Di Un Minuto, a real classic, a great album. I really like it. In Italy, it was number one in the album top sales in 1972. Okay, let's move on to the second album, Pear and Amico, also a classic. Vocals are in Italian vocals. Last week I did the Dutch prog rock album top 40. The Dutch bands are always singing in English, and the Italian bands are mostly singing in Italian. Okay, let's move to Photos of Ghosts. Photos of Ghosts from Premiata Forneria Marconi is in English and is their third album from 1973, a real classic. Then we have L'isola di Niente. It's a great album. It's completely in Italian. It's a classic. Then we have the English version from Premiata Forneria Marconi. It's called The World Became the World. And on this album we have also The Mountain. It's a great album. It's a real classic. Then we go to Chocolate Kings, also from PFM. That's their last very good album. I like it. Then we go to Le Orme with Uomo di Pezza. It's a real classic. It's a great album. You have to buy this one. Then we have Valona e Serona from Le Orme. This is the double disc with the English version from Valona and Serona, with all lyrics by Peter Hamel from Van der Graaf Generator. Also on this album, the Italian version, and that's called Valona e Serona, a real classic from 1973. Then we go to Le Orme Contrapunti, also a very good album. And then a more recent album from 2004. It's called Linfinito, and it has lots of keyboards and lots of mellotron, also choir mellotron, and lots of guitars. Very good. Then we go to Banco del Mutuo Soccorso. Banco del Mutuo Soccorso with their first album with the same title. It's really great, and it's a real classic. It's fantastic. It's from 1972. The great bands in Italy are, the famous bands in Italy are PFM, Le Orme, and Banco. Those three bands are most famous. This is the second album. It's called Darwin, and it's a great album. It's a real classic. The second album by Banco del Mutuo Soccorso. Then we have the third album, Io Sono Nato Libero. We have been born in freedom. And this is the third album from Banco. It's really great. It's classic. Then we go to Goblin. Goblin was famous with making soundtracks for horror films. This is a normal studio album with a long title. The title is Il Fantastico Viaggio del Bagarozzo Mark, the fantastic journey by Bagarozzo Mark. It's a great album. It's a classic. It's their best album. Then I have a more recent album, Non Ho Sono. It's also a good album. And here we see the guys in the band. Goblin from Italy. Okay, before Goblin there was Cherry 5. They made one album and it sounds like Yes. It's a classic. Then we have Metamorphosi with Inferno, a great album, really good, very progressive, a real classic. Then we have Museo Rosenbach with Zarathustra. Museo Rosenbach with Zarathustra, and it's a classic album. I like it. Then we have Il Balletto di Bronzo with Ice. And Il Balletto di Bronzo with Ice is a great album, also a real classic from Italy. I can recommend it. Then we have Alusa Fallax. Alusa Fallax, a great album, really good, and it's called Intorno alla mia cattiva educazione. Alusa Fallax, very good. Then we have Osana with their most famous album, and the album is called Palapoli. And it's, as all other albums, it's progressive rock Italiano. Palapoli from Osana, a band from Napoli, from Naples. It's really great. Then we have Semiramis with a very nice cover. Semiramis, and the album is called Dedicato a Frase. Dedicato a Frase from Semiramis. Good album. Then we go to San Giuliano with the album Take Off. And if you like Vangelis, you can buy this instrumental album with lots of keyboards. San Giuliano. Okay, very nice. Then we go to La Macera di Sera. La Macera di Sera made an album called The Gates of Tomorrow, Le Porte del Domani. It's also available in Italian. And it's a successor from an album by La Orme. And the album by La Orme I mentioned before. And it's called Verona e Serona. And this is a successor from another band. And it's almost 10 years old. And it's very, very, very good. A modern classic. La Macera di Cera with The Gates of Tomorrow. The Gates of Tomorrow. Okay. Then we have their latest album, La Macera di Cera with Sai, and it's a very good album. I like it. It's a classic. It's from last year. Then another one, Luxada, also from La Macera di Cera, also very good. Then we go to another modern band. It's called Unreal City, and the album is called La Crudeltà di Aprile. And the third track on this album, Catabasi, has a church organ and lots of keyboards. It's really great. It's one of the best songs from a modern Italian band. Then we go to the second album from Unreal City. It's called Il Paese del Tramonto. Il Paese del Tramonto from Unreal City. It's also very good. Great album. A modern classic. Then we go to The Night Watch with Twilight. A more modern band, The Night Watch. And this is their debut album, and it's really good. Then you go to the successor of The Night Watch, that's The Watch with Ghost, also good. Then a 70s band, Alpha Taurus, and this is the first album, and it's really good. Then we go to Campo Di Marte. Campo Di Marte, it's a good album. I can recommend it. Then we go to Jumbo from the early 70s with DNA. It's a good album. Then we go to the second Jumbo album. It's called Vietato a minori di 18 anni. Forbidden for people under 18. It's from Jumbo, and it's a very good album. Then we have a modern band from the last 5 years, and it's called Alice Mare. And Alice Mare, the album is called From Sea and Beyond, from Alice Mare. And they have also some guest artists like Robert Barry. This is the next album from Alice Mare, and it's called Weird. Alice Mare, Weird. It's a good, absolute good music. Yes? Okay. Then we go to Locanda della Fata. Locanda della Fate from the 70s. And the album is called, you can't read it almost. Sorry, I can't read it. You have to search it yourself. It's Locanda della Fate. It's a good album. Then we go to Asgard. That's a 90s band, a band from the 19s. And it's called Arcana. It's reasonable. Then we go to Cap with the album Il Bianco Regno di Noah. Cap, reasonable. La Congenza di Zeno. La Congenza di Zeno with Sensitivita. Reasonable. Free Monks. The band Free Monks with the album Neo-Gothic Progressive Toccatas. All church organs on this album. Reasonable. Then we go to this one. This one is from Il Tempio della Clisidra, and the album is called Alie Natura. It's reasonable. Then we go to Ad AM, and that's an early 70s band, Il Rovescio della Medaglia, and the album is called Contaminazione. It's an early 70s album. Then one from 10 years ago, Pandora with Dremaia di un poeta lubriaco. Okay, Pandora, reasonable. Last one, number 45, is 8 Strada. 8 Strada. Reasonable album. The album is called La Leggenda della Grande Porta. 8 Strada. Reasonable. Number 45. Okay, that was my show about Italian progressive rock albums. All albums from Italy. Almost all albums sing in Italian. That was my top 45 with albums from Italy. The Italian progressive rock album top 45. Okay, give me a like and subscribe to my channel. Okay, thank you. Bye.